Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Elevenses with the Reps at Diesel Bookstore. This is if you're joining us for the first time, our weekly podcast at Diesel Bookstore in Santa Monica, beautiful Santa Monica, where we get together every week with our wonderful publishers representatives and our booksellers and occasionally others who happen to bookishly wander by. And we talk about all of the new, upcoming, and recently released titles that our wonderful and knowledgeable professionals want you to know about. And every week, your to be read list will expand exponentially. And mine does every week, for sure. And so we will post the links to all of the books that we talk about today in the little chat area there, so you can go ahead and click on those later after you've listened to everything and purchase the book through Diesel. And I'm going to introduce we have two of the best with us today. Very excited. And before I introduce them, though, I do want to tell you just a couple of things that are happening at the store so that you can plan for the next week. We have on Sunday, the 22nd, can you believe it's the 22nd already on Sunday? Glenton Richards will be at the store discussing and signing the Honor Society. So that's going to be Sunday, February 22nd at 3 p.m. And that'll be Glenton Richards at the store. And then we have a triplet of authors, a triptych, a hat trick. We have three authors on Tuesday, February 24th at 6:30 p.m. Molly Davis Moon, Duncan Macleod, and Ingrid Clayton, and they will be at the store discussing and signing, respectively, The Great All, Money Magic, and Fawning. So that is three for the free price of one at 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday, February 24th. You don't want to miss that. And then if you are interested in our more events coming up, and we have some fabulous events coming up for the rest of the month and into March, visit us at www.dieselbookstore.com, and it's all right there. So you can check that out. Let's get to it, because I know that these two have a lot to talk about today. I'm very excited. Joining us today, we have Patricia Nelson from Princeton University Press, and we haven't seen Patricia for a while, so welcome back, Patricia. It's great to see you. And we have our returning champion, Julia Callahan at Hachette. After every Elevenses that Julia is on, I'm immediately on the computer buying books. So I know that'll definitely happen again today, I'm sure. So, Patricia, why don't you lead us off?
Well, okay, I will. Thank you. I'm going to start with a gorgeous book. I just got a copy yesterday, so it's the first I've seen it. It's called The Four Heavens, A New History of the Ancient Maya. You can see it's a gorgeous, big, and beautiful book. It has fantastic end papers that show you the glyphs. This is the first new history of the Maya in over 2 decades. It's entirely new, holistic understanding of this oldest civilization, flourishing across 3 millennia. We're thinking of the cosmic vision, of the dynastic drama, the enduring resilience of the Maya over 3,000 years. We have an absolutely extraordinary writer. David Stuart is arguably the leading Mayanist in the world and came from a dynasty of Mayanists. It's hard to believe. He grew up on ancient archaeological sites. Both his parents were deeply involved. He was present at extraordinary places at the age of 9. By the age of 13, he was deciphering Mayan hieroglyphics himself and won a MacArthur Genius Award by the age of 18. So just kind of a stunning character. And this is kind of bringing together a life work that engages us in new archaeological discoveries and brings together this history. One of our early readers said, reading this marvelous book, 2 long-standing mysteries were resolved for me. With the brilliant David Stuart as a guide, I didn't just learn all that I have wanted to learn about the history of the Maya, but also how we have come to know what we know. this has a kind of an Indiana Jones feeling. There's, a triangular stone pivoting on a vertical axis and revealing a great tomb. At one point, Stuart had a huge article that just came out like an hour ago in the National Geographic. So presumably in a forthcoming issue, and many pages on Stuart. And in it, he relates one of the stories from this book, coming upon new stone inscriptions at a recent excavation that no one had been able to read. But he looked upon it in amazement. It was a written list of first kings of the city's ancient dynasty. There were 4 names of rulers who probably lived in the 4th and 5th centuries. And the Mayan history was laid out before him. He could decipher this. And as he says, I was the first person to ever read these names in perhaps a dozen centuries. He is the artist of the glyphs throughout. The book is well illustrated, and you can get a ability of the reading of the book. And there are maps and close images, deeply described. There's a rich color section. You might be seeing archaeology, aspects of buildings, and particularly vases and tomb work, which were the sources of the inscriptions. This image on the cover is drawn by Stuart and is an illustration of a wheel, the animate force of lightning and of royal power, and the basis of kingship and dynastic authority. And it comes from a painted vase. So a wonderful and exciting book just coming out, and I'm really thrilled. There is not another book on Mayan civilization within the last decades.
That is absolutely true, and because I know this because I have looked for one, and this is very exciting, and it fills a void. I think fascinating, and so much is unknown about Maya still. And about a week ago, there was a huge article in the Guardian about how almost everything we know about Mayan civilization is wrong. There was a long article about that. It wasn't Stuart, but it touched on some of these things. So
and now it's time for an update. Michael Coe's book has been out. I think I sold that book in the 90s, and it has been revised. And there's certainly things out there, but this is the moment for really pulling together what we've come to know and how we've come to know it.
Very, very exciting. And I will be definitely am interested in getting a copy of this one. Thank you, Patricia. All right, Julia, what's your first book?
Okay, well, my first book is it's I think something that sort of fills a void that I know a lot of booksellers are feeling, which is a book that makes people feel good. That's not a romance. And I feel like, recently the sort of, as I meet with buyers, they get a lot of requests for like, can I have a book that's uplifting? But for people that, for a lot of people, that's the romance genre, and that's why it's sort of doing gangbusters right now. But I know some people aren't, that's not their genre. They're not really into it. And it can be hard to find a truly like uplifting novel that's not making people sort of depressed. And so I have a book actually titled The Optimists by Brian Platzer. And so this is sort of trust exercise by Susan Choi meets Dead Poets Society. It is narrated from the perspective of a teacher, and looking back at sort of his career, and particularly this one student that was like a challenge when she was in his class, but has really like blossomed, and he gets to sort of watch it. It's an absolutely wonderful novel. It will make you feel so good. So Nathan Hill, who wrote Wellness and The Knicks, wrote great books are like great teachers. They are wise, humane, compassionate, and they illuminate the world in ways we never knew possible. The Optimist is all of this and more. It's a beautiful novel about how we love, how we remember, and how, if we're lucky, we get to mean something to someone else. So this is just, it's a love letter to teachers and to teaching and sort of that work that I think so often, I feel like we all have those teachers that we absolutely love, and also our society maybe doesn't compensate teachers as well as they should be. And so I think there's like, and I come from a family full of teachers. My dad was a teacher, and my most of my aunts and uncles are teachers, and my grandpa was a teacher. So I am particularly close to this narrative, but it is one of those books that just like, it just warms you, and not in like a saccharine way. Like, it's very real. It doesn't shy away from the fact that like sometimes being a teacher is hard, but it also like really like has this heartwarming heartbeat to it. So this is The Optimist by Brian Platzer. It comes out next Tuesday, the 24th. And I highly recommend it, particularly if you're looking for a bit of optimism and a little bit of heart in this time. So
I love this. Obviously, we have Joey behind the scenes getting the covers up, and he obviously was wrestling with this one a little bit. So, oh my God, here it is. This is a great and actually very oddly cheerful cover. It kind of
I mean, those
demonstrates.
chairs are visceral. Yeah.
As soon as you look at it, you know exactly what's happening here. I also am from a family of teachers, and I know whereof you speak. And I've had my eye on this one for a while. The advanced reader copy has been available, so I saw, because with a title like that, you have to check it out immediately. But
Yeah.
but you're absolutely right, Julia. This is definitely the time for people just really craving something on the lighter side, and something that's a little bit hopeful and not just Sturm und Drang all the time. So a great book. Hope it does really well. We'll see. Thank you, Julia. All right, Patricia, back to you.
Yeah, I have an incredibly beautiful new book to show you. It's just shipping in. It's pretty spectacular. It's called The Atlas of World Embroidery. It's a stunning and enormous book. It covers embroidery across history and across traditions. It draws on all kinds of creative expression that is varied and diverse, unique styles, but also interchange between cultures. Covers the Americas, Europe, Africa, Asia, Australasia. It looks at all kinds of materials. You might be using quill work or birch fiber in indigenous North America. There are styles of embroidery from India. There's the satin stitches that you might think of in the Han Dynasty. And she shows us the history of embroidery, its materials, its tools, its designs and symbols, and uses and makers. So really a spectacular book on world embroidery. And everywhere you look in this book, you're just blown away. Let's see if I can get this right. Here you're looking at a quill work leather garment from North America. But we might also look at familiar quilting and colonial styles. And I was staying with our continent, of course, Guatemala, with both incredible weaving and over embroidery. There's a sensibility in the book that's really wonderful. I showed this book to one of my buyers whose grandmother, Croatian grandmother, had embroidered for years, and she was really drawn to the Eastern European section of the book. Or we might look at Pakistan or India. It is a book that includes information for crafters. There's a whole back section of motifs and ideas and stitches for embroidery. one of the things I find really exciting about this book is bringing textile arts into the larger world of the arts, not as an overlooked or side history, but in fact integral to the history of humankind. Going back to the very beginning, if you looked archaeologically, it's needles and weaving equipment that might be even more predominant than weapons. Hyperallergic, a contemporary art magazine, reviewed it as a feast for the eyes, proving that abstraction has long been integral to world heritage. It wasn't just something discovered in the 19th or 20th century. That's kind of an eye-opening way of looking at design, all kinds of design. So very authoritative. Gillian Vogelsang-Eastwood is at the Textile Research Center in Leiden. I did a lot of looking, as one does as a rep for comparable books. Actually, there's not a lot out there. This is, I think, going to be a treasure trove for makers and creators, for people interested in women's history, textile history, which has really been coming into its own in many, many ways. It's visually stunning. It has close-ups, full views, and just this sensibility of incredible textile design around the world.
What a gorgeous book. My grandmother was an embroiderer. She made, all kinds of tablecloths, and I still have some of her things that she made. And I was really into it when I was, much younger, and had my when you have time,
I did a lot.
you can do.
I did a lot of hippie embroidery, certainly in college. You remember there were some great books that came out, the hippie embroidery books from the 70s and 80s. And
yeah, it feels like it's sort of gone in. There's the traditional, the people who have always done it, like my grandmother. And then there was this resurgence at some point, and everybody was embroidering their jeans and things like that. And then it kind of fell out. Now it's back. It's back. There's all kinds of kits, and I see it popping up all the time as, as a new hobby, something to get into. I think it's great. It's very creative. It's beautiful. There's so much history in it, and this is absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous book. Stunning. Thank you, Patricia. Great gift, also. You definitely, everybody knows somebody who this book would be for. Julia.
Okay. Well, I have another, I don't know, I guess it's kind of teacher oriented. But this is a memoir by Oliver James. It's called Unread, a memoir of learning and loving to read on TikTok. So Oliver James, some people might know him from TikTok. He became sort of TikTok famous during lockdown, where he would get on TikTok and his sort of phrase was like, "What up, TikTok? I don't know how to read." And he through like encouragement and with, people on TikTok would like suggest things to like help him. He taught himself how to read when he was in his early 30s. So this is his memoir. And he really talks about a lot of things, talks about, being able to get through school without learning how to read and how that happened and how it can happen. But also, one of my favorite parts of this book is every single chapter is titled after a classic children's novel, which is how he taught himself to read, is by reading classic children's literature. So things like Charlotte's Web, like The Phantom Tollbooth, these, wonderful children's books. And it's sort of a love letter to children's literature, as well as being a memoir of literacy and how important literacy is. And there are these incredible stories. He talks about, ordering food at a restaurant, and it wasn't until he taught himself how to read that he knew what he liked to eat at restaurants, because he would just order something that someone else ordered because he couldn't read the menu. So these like amazing stories that I think for someone like me who, I don't know that I know anyone in my life that doesn't know how to read. And so it sort of opened up this world to me that I was unaware of, and sort of how to navigate. And what's so clear while you're reading it is like the amount of work it takes to navigate the world without being literate. And it is just like kind of stunning what the workarounds are. I was really like, I was really shocked at certain points. Um, and I think this is just a beautiful memoir. It's a beautiful story. And I think with all of the news that we get about sort of literacy rates falling in the US, of people not reading as much, I think this book is really like, it inspired me. It made me hopeful. People want to. And so how do we sort of, make it accessible and make it fun, and remind people that reading is like a good time. And, I mean, perhaps one way is putting the Phantom Toll Booth in their hands, but also just, reminding yourself. I think one of the things that I liked about this book is it reminded me of the magic of those young childhood books that just like spark a lifelong love of reading. So this is a gorgeous memoir, unread, by Oliver James. I know he's touring a bit, and you'll see him if you're on TikTok. You will see him on TikTok, but he is an awesome person. He has so much interesting experience and so much to say. And he spoke at Kaliba, which is our like local, California Indie Bookstore Association event, and literally people came up to me, like everyone who was there came up to me afterwards and was like, how do we get him in our store? Because he's so inspiring and he's so fun. It's fun to read this book, and he's fun to listen to. So I highly recommend Unread by Oliver James.
I love everything about this book. I love the trajectory of the thing, and that it's wound up. And somebody who can't read it is like ultimately has wound up as a book that is in our hands, and just the whole everything about it. And I remember him. I'm not on TikTok, but I remember hearing about it and thinking about it. And I've often the way people compensate for various deficits of all kinds of things, and I've thought about literacy for a long time because I don't remember ever not being able to read. And so, but when you teach, when you work with people who are trying to navigate maybe neurodivergent ways of looking at things, and understanding how much you have to change, how many workarounds you have to do. And these are what the famous silent struggles of people that you don't think about. And this is so critical because reading, none of you watching or who are here present today will disagree. I mean, that reading is fundamental, and it's the key to everything. It always has been for me. And I think bringing it back to in independent booksellers, somebody comes in and they're a little cautious about reading, or they don't feel smart, or and they don't feel comfortable sort of with the level of reading where they're at or something, but they want some recommendations because they're hungry for this, and they're learning. And the more you read, the more you add, and the further you can go. And that's why you should always go into an independent bookstore, because there isn't an independent bookseller alive who won't talk to you forever about what kind of book you should read, and will hook you up with all of the children's books. I love this story so much. Julia, how can we get them at our store?
Let me know. I'll put you in touch with the right people.
It's a fantastic book. Absolutely love. Thank you, Julia. All right, Patricia, I'm going to go back to you now.
Hey. Well, we love to be completely immersed in our writerly world, and how wonderful to think of that gift opening up. That is a wonderful story.
Amazing.
I'm definitely going to be reading it. So I have a book called The Writer's Room. This is just coming out. It's a lovely little book on the hidden worlds that shape the books we love. It's a little bit of a UK import, so it has a certain Britishy feeling. It blends memoir and literary history and cultural critique, and invites us into all those intimate spaces where writers are working, garden rooms, cafe corners, and how places shape creativity and just our also our curiosity about that inspirational geography. Uh, Virginia Woolf famously wrote that, all that was necessary was 500 pounds a year and a room that locked. But you might just find a garret or a shed, a bathroom. You might be writing while you move. Katja de Cunha Lewin is the author, and Lewin begins with her own secondhand writing desk. She talks about how environments embody craft and shape literary works. Of course, she takes us to Woolf's garden room at Monk House, and this picture reminded me that Patti Smith did a lot of photographs of Virginia Woolf's artifacts, her bed, her desk at Monk's house, and that kind of brings out the sense of shrine, the sense of desire to be in the place, to somehow touch how that work came to be. She talks about Emily Bronte's shared table in the parsonage, if you can imagine writing all your novels on half a table or a table half time. She talks about Sigmund Freud's study with, of course, the famous couch and lots of antiquities around, and having a very sharp pencil in a Parisian cafe, if you happen to be Ernest Hemingway. Hotel rooms where Maya Angelou wrote poetry. Lauren Elkin wrote on her phone. Audre Lorde brought people together, founding Women of Color Press around kitchen tables. So it's just full of insight and exploration of spaces where writers have crafted. It's poignant. I think it feeds into that tourism of writerly spaces where we wish we could touch the place Joan Didion wrote or go to Jane Austen's house. It features about 40 writers and mentions some writers' house museums, reframes the whole idea of Virginia Woolf's room of her own. Here's another little picture to end on, again, photographed in a very evocative way. This would be Chez Baldwin, James Baldwin's home in Paris. So just another book to add to that shelf of wanting to get inside the intimacy of writing and celebrate that. So very nice.
And very nice, very gifty for the writer in your life who would appreciate something like this. It's an easy gift on that level, and these I love these kinds of books. They're fun. They're sort of escapist in a very literary way, and they just give and ask nothing. They just are giving. So a wonderful, fun little book. No, actually, not so little. And all your books are smart, Patricia, too. So it's not like, you know. So
It's fun to tour. There are a lot of jump off points in this book, reminding you of
absolutely.
a lot of writers that you want to look up and think about and where they were, and of
Yeah,
course,
and then it's rabbit holes, and it leads to all kinds of other things. And actually, a great segue from Julia's last book as well. So perfect. You guys planned this out, didn't you?
now we want to
Yeah,
know
we met.
Unread was written and how it was written.
Yeah.
Good. Well,
Thank you so much, Patricia.
I know. I was gonna say he has like a van. He does like the van life thing, so it might have been written in his mobile van.
Fantastic story. That's great.
Yeah.
I told you at the beginning you're going to want all these books. And
I
here we
know.
are. And
I know that one
so
sounds
Julia's
good.
got another one now.
Yes, I do. So it is February, which means it's Black History Month. So I wanted to make sure that I had something good to celebrate that. And this book is called It's No Wonder: The Life and Times of Motown's legendary songwriter Sylvia Moy. This is the first bio ever of Sylvia Moy, who, if you might not know her by name, but she was Motown Records' first certified female in-house songwriter and producer. Motown Records, of course, the great Detroit-based record music sort of factory. I mean, produced some of the best music, in my opinion, the best music to come out of the 20th century. But she is probably the most well-known with helped crafting Stevie Wonder's early career. So Stevie Wonder had been signed to Motown very young age, and he produced a couple of hit records, and then his voice changed, and they didn't really know what to do with him. And Berry Gordy, the legendary owner of Motown Records and sort of man who put it all together, he thought, okay, well, we'll let Stevie Wonder go. And she sort of saved his career. She wrote songs for him. I want to just get the songs right. So she wrote My Cherie Amour, I Was Made to Love Her, Never Had a Dream Come True, Honey Child by Martha Reeves and the Vandellas, Love Bug, Leave My Heart Alone, also Martha Reeves and the Vandellas. She wrote This Old Heart of Mine Is Weak for You with Holland Dozier Holland, for the Isley Brothers. So she is an absolute powerhouse of songwriting, wrote some of Stevie Wonder's, or co-wrote or produced some of Stevie Wonder's biggest hits, but also some of the biggest hits of Motown. And this is the first time her story has really been told. And so, I just imagine, I don't know if anyone's been to Motown Records in Detroit. I've toured it. And, to me, it's stunning how small it is. It's like a house in Detroit. And to think that, these people, there's some great exhibits about sort of the songwriting and how it worked. And to think, she's the only woman in this room of all men, and is writing some of the most incredible and long-lasting songs that we still know and love today. And also that Stevie Wonder, we might not know Stevie Wonder, what I would argue his 4 best records, which is Songs in the Key of Life, Fulfilling His First and a Finale, Talking Book, and I'm going to forget the 4th one that I love, but it was all 4 right in a row. He did them back to back to back to back, and she had somewhat of a hand in that songwriting. So so this is It's No Wonder, Life and Times of Sylvia Moy.
Music of My Mind, maybe, or no,
I'll look it.
I know what the
I'll
4th
look
one
it up.
is. I wish I had my son here right now. He's a Motown savant, and Julia and I always talk about these fabulous music books that you have, and because I always mention my Intervisions. That's it.
Yeah.
Right. So those are the 4. Yeah, those are the technically, I mean, not technically, but those are considered the 4 of his,
Well, and they were back
period.
to back to back to back. I mean, come on.
And he was like 24 or something like that.
Yeah. Wild.
Yeah, really wild. My sister teaches a history of Motown class at San Diego State University. Cool. So I have de facto by extension Motown expert, and she doesn't know about this book. I'm really excited. She's not watching right now, so she doesn't know, but I'm gonna get her this for her birthday, which is coming in like a week and a half. I'm really excited because she doesn't know about it yet, I don't think.
Well, it just came out last week, so
I know, very, very exciting. But what a great history, and what why have we not talked about her before? And yeah, exactly. All of the things. Very exciting. Thank you, Julia. Patricia, this is the bonus round? Are we at the bonus round already? Wow, okay.
We're in the home stretch here. I just love to hear Julia talk about music books, so I'm glad we had one. That one sounds so great.
Do you know the stack that I have? Because Julia, I always know when Julia is talking about a music book, it's going to be something I want.
Yeah.
Oh, and you
Yeah.
guys just
That would be
wait. We
great.
have so many good ones coming. I'm so excited to talk about some more coming up. So
Great. Well, I
yeah,
will
stay
need
tuned.
that list. I will need that list ahead of time.
Oh, keep us going.
All right.
Well, I'm just ending with a lovely book called Natural Habitats and Wildlife Gardening. This is a book on inviting nature into your backyard. It just feels great. It's got a flexi cover. It's quite heavy with photographs. It's immensely packed with information, and it has that powerful sort of infographic kind of style in which it just delivers so much information about how to support pollinators, birds, build biodiversity in ecological gardening. And it's science-based. It's about transforming any backyard, and that could be any space. If you have 5 square feet, you could still have a bee, a butterfly, a hummingbird, building thriving habitat. It's very step by step. It has a lot of innovation about native plants and natural processes, grazing, flooding, successions, seasons, and species profiles of sorry of all kinds of amphibians, reptiles, insects. Lots of design tips. Might have to stop. Going to start coughing.
Well, while you're, I don't know if this has happened to me before, but I love this kind of book, especially with the flex cover, and that's another thing I think that sort of non-professionals like me, I raise butterflies in the season from like May through September, October. And I'm always looking for to create, to further the habitat back there with pollinators, and I'm just, a regular person who wants some tips. And these books are fabulous for that kind of thing, because the photographs are great. It's sort of bite-sized information that you pick up. You don't have to get scientific about things, so anybody can do it. And it I think being able to get back to nature in your own little patch is a really it's great, soothing for the mind and spirit. So great little book. Another excellent gift. Thanks, Patricia. All right, Julia, let's wrap it up for the day here.
Okay, well, I had to go fun. I had to go just straight fun for the last book.
You had a lot of fun today, actually.
Thank you. So I chose, I also went children's because I know Deborah loves it when we do children's books. So I tried to pick a good one. This is a board book called Bigfoot and Friends, Believe in Yourself. This is from Running Press Kids. And listen, this is a board book for your children, but let's face it, it's kind of for you too. In introducing children to the concept of cryptids. It explores in a delightful way whether or not cryptids are real, but they are, you know what's real? Anything you believe in. And if you believe in cryptids, then they're real. And you say to me, Julia, I don't know what a cryptid is. Well, cryptids are unusual creatures. Bigfoot is a cryptid, but some people don't believe cryptids are real. Bigfoot asks his friend Mothman, are cryptids real? Of course, you moth, never give up. And we go on. Bigfoot asks his friend El Chupacabra, will people believe in me? I believe in you. So we go through all the cryptids, the Kraken, the werewolf, the Chupacabras, the Yetis, all of the fun cryptids that may not be real, but because you believe in them, they are real. This is an utter delight. I will read it to every child in my life, and I think if you have a child in your life, it's going to be a big hit. So that's my fun book to end on.
I love board books anyway. Anyway, I'm still waiting for a publisher to come out with a board book that's pre-bitten, that has like teeth marks in it already. I think that would be a great idea, because that's what they do. They bite them, they drool on them, they really, it's the best early book, and board books are getting so much smarter and more fun, and really, it's like, how deep can you go with a board book? Pretty deep, turns out. And they're for, as much for parents and caregivers and teachers as they are for the little ones. But as a first book introduction to books, they're the best board books. I love them. They've got them. That's such a great series, and this is super fun. This one, Julia. So, thank you for bringing it, and thank you both for absolutely incredible selection of books today. I'm so excited about all of these books. They're truly fabulous. I knew you would bring it, and indeed you have. So thank you to Patricia Nelson from Princeton University Press and Julia Callahan from Hachette. And thank you to Joey, who is behind the scenes, posting all of the links and the covers today. Thank you, Joey. And thanks everybody for watching today, for tuning in. We will be back again next week. We will have more reps. We'll have more books. And stay tuned for an announcement. We've got a special Elevenses coming up, which I will tell you more about next week. So you'll want to come back for that. And in the meantime, everybody have a wonderful week. Happy reading, and we will see you next time. Thanks, everyone.